probably one of the most frequently asked questions that you get is either from the media or people on the street is, what do you think of my outfit?
Constantly.
Constantly.
Thousands of times a day.
Yeah. And do you ever feel like just going, you look a mess, get out of my way?
No, not at all. I've just said the same thing to the last journalist that I've spoken to. It's not in my nature to do that, and I wouldn't criticise anyone or make them feel bad about themselves. And so no, and the thing is, it's, when it happens, it's you have your standard salutation, and it's normally, you look fabulous, or or the other big question is do you think I'd look good naked? I'm sure you do. The thing is, it's if I did turn around and I was horrible to someone, they'd freak out. They wouldn't want it, and I wouldn't do that anyway. So So no, not at all. Not at all.
So you're always happy and positive with people who ask you that?
Yeah, I think so. I think, the whole ethos of the House Look Good Naked brand, which is obviously stemmed off to the other two shows as well, is the fact that, to be positive, you get good results. And I think for a long time, people had this misconception that you had to be negative or make people feel vulnerable to get a response. And that's just not the way that I work at all. I don't think it's right.
Yours is a very different style then to, say, people like Trini and Susanna, who kind of do focus on maybe some of the parts that people aren't happy with.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it was a very, very different style of programming, when the girls were doing it. And How to Look Good Naked is a very different program because we deal with, we kind of do two types of makeovers. So the first part is, obviously the clothes, and that's what I do as a living stylist. But then organically what happens is almost a psychological makeover. Whereas when the girls were working on my show, there wasn't that psychological element. And so the thing is, if you've got somebody who feels very, very vulnerable about their body, you'd have to be a really, really hideous person to be horrible to them then. And it's just not the brand, and it's also not me. I don't do that kind of thing. I went through my fair share of body loathing and bullying and stuff, that I wouldn't be horrible to someone because I know exactly how that feels to hate yourself so much and then everyone else around you reinforce that. So. Yeah.
And since now you've been in Dublin, what have you seen, how Irish people are dressing? Is there anything in particular that you pick up on? Or?
Do you know what? I mean, last night I was amazed. We landed quite late and I was working in London yesterday, so I was exhausted. Yeah. And I'd never stayed at the Shelbourne before. We pulled up outside and it is just phenomenal. And we walked in there, it was packed, rammed. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people on a Friday night, which is fine, but everyone was so dressed up.
Yeah.
And I said to Laura, the publicist I came over with, I said, it's bizarre because in London everyone's very cool for school, and because of where everyone lives and getting in and out of town is so difficult, what they tend to do is they tend to go to work and then have a quick change at work or add something different and then go straight out. So it's quite a casual affair. Whereas here last night, it looked like people had gone home for 7 hours and got ready.
Yeah.
Full hair, full makeup, full accessories, ball gowns, the full works. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And so, I think Dublin is very, very well dressed. It was brilliant.
I think as well, though, in the Shelbourne, probably that's a different style of people maybe in Dublin, because that is a very...
Well, we went down to the George as well.
Oh, well, you
so
last
night,
style
and there was a different style. But in fact, everyone was again very, very dressed up. It was hats and gloves, and it was brilliant. It was like costume. It was brilliant.
And what about then people you've been meeting today who doing your book signing? Were they
slightly
very conscious
different
of what they were dressed?
I think everyone is. I mean, coming to the shop and everyone's a little bit more lipstick on than they would normally wear, and so
that's
I think people.
Probably all your journalists.
A little bit, and they do. But I'm not here to judge them. If you ask me and I become your stylist, and of course then I'll give you my professional opinion. But other than that, I don't really care. It's it's as long as you've got a big old smile and a cup of coffee for me, I'm fine.
What about yourself then? How long would you spend getting ready in the morning? Do you feel more pressure then to look a certain way because of your job?
I mean, there's a certain amount because obviously the paparazzis and so they kind of follow you around, and you don't ever want to get snapped looking hideous. Not because you don't want to be in the magazines in your slob wear, but it's just the fact that it's you kind of look at it yourself thinking, oh God, I look terrible that day, like everyone else. And so there is a little bit more effort that's made. But normally I can get out of bed if my car's collecting me at 8 o'clock. I can get up at 7 o'clock and be ready out the door by 8. So about an hour in total. But I'm quite low maintenance really. I've got things down to a fine art of getting it done, and also I've got severe OCDs about stuff, and so I've got routines and formats, and so
very organised.
Exactly, very organised.
So not a problem for you to get ready then, just because you have everything set out in a certain way.
All kind of done. Yeah, it's terrible. It's not good. Regimented.
Do you have any then tips for, at the moment you just hear everywhere, the papers and the media and everything about recession, and everybody's conscious of their money? I
would say because of the recession, or the credit crunch, the new recession. choices need to be far more informed. Long gone is the day of disposable dressing where you'd run out on a Friday and get a 30 quid outfit and then throw it away on a Sunday. Yeah. And so you can't do that anymore. So basically it's about reinvention of what you've got at home already and making sure that what you are buying when you go out, it can be used 3 or 4 times with different outfits so you can really get your money's worth. And that comes through careful styling and careful shopping, which is where the book comes in, which is brilliant, because the book kind of teaches that you as well, because I kind of recognise that not everyone has got thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to spend on clothes, and some people have a very limited budget. And so what I wanted to do was create a book or a manual for people to dip in and dip out, that what they can do is they can accessorise differently or add different things and get a different look but still have the basics.
What would be your basic tips maybe for people? Like, where do you start when you're trying to put an outfit together or get a certain look?
Well, right from the beginning, it's your underwear. You've got to get the foundations right first. You've got to get your body as in proportion as you possibly can to start dressing, because of course clothes are cut on mannequins, which are in proportion. So you need to make the outfits look good. You've got to do that, and then after that, you've got to you've got to commit to your own style, to the kind of look that you want. You've got to think about environment. You've got to think about the people you're going to be in. I mean, there's loads of different things, and then afterwards, that's when the creativity and the taste comes in, and and it's everyone's taste is subjective, obviously. So it's a case of committing to what you believe looks nice, and if you think you look nice, then no one else can question it.
Yeah, I've read different books, style books as well, say like the Trini and Susanna ones as well, and in their book they outline on certain things, colours. They're very specific about what colour goes with what, and how you should wear it, and if you're the right, what skin tone you wear in your hair.
Yeah.
Do you?
No, not really.
Any of that, or
no,
whatever you.
I think it's all a bit of witchcraft, really. If I'm very honest with you, in the 80s, there was a big thing about if your aura was orange, then you could only wear autumn colours, and I just think it's a bit crap, really. If I'm honest with you, and I think there's a basic principles. If you've got very very pale skin and you wear white or a light colour, you're always going to look pale, kind of thing. And of course, that's a basic principle. But really, other than that, there's nothing. There aren't any rules. Again, if it makes you feel good, then you should wear whatever you want to.
Yeah. I have a little present for you.
Okay.
There's a guy on our show who does impressions,
right,
and he does them of like politicians.
I'm really nervous.
Politicians, pop stars, mainly Irish based, so you might get it. But anyway, he does an album every year of sketches that'll be on the show. It's very popular. And this year his theme was about how to look good naked.
How to look gift naked.
It's called Gift Grub. This is the slot. So he's themed it on your show.
Thank you very much indeed. I love that.
And this is him in all the poses.
Oh, I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. Oh, thank you so much.